Hello, everyone. It's a good day. Not because I have used marker pens on my nails, not because I chose to stay home and make pancakes instead of going out dancing, because outside is cold and it's expensive and it's not as safe as it used to be. This is why this is why today is a good day. I have been reminded of I've been reminded of myself when I was younger. I have been speaking with quite a few women this week about setting boundaries. Now, um, I know I identify as a health coach. It's because I really find the title life coach problematic because, in my mind, and I think in the minds of anyone who just has half a brain, um, who has a manual on what life should look like? Now, you see, I get why you'd call yourself a therapist. I get why you call yourself a psychologist or a sociologist or, life coach is quite arrogant in my honest and not so humble opinion because, like, who are you to tell people how to live their lives? I mean, even in therapy, I just had pancakes. Even in therapy, like your therapist doesn't necessarily tell you what to do. They can even have like different values from yours. They need to, from what I've read, from what like proper psychologists. And when I say proper, I mean people who are focused on giving care and advocating for their patients or their clients. When I hear them speak, people like Dr. Raquel Martin, they sound like what they're doing is what I do as a coach, which is holding space for people. So, for instance, I don't set your health and wellness goals for you when you come to see me. You come to me with the goals, then we work towards them. By the way, you're allowed to adjust them somewhere along the way. You're allowed to say, I actually thought I wanted to lose weight, but the fact that my gut is functioning better and my period pain is diminishing and I no longer need to go for invasive laparoscopic surgery to determine whether I have endometriosis. I think like this is closer to where what healthy has been for me than I've enjoyed in a long time. Like I've had people literally change their minds about what they wanted to do. And I remember my own coach, my business coach, life coach, Jackson Saya telling me like what you're selling is transformation. It's not weight loss. It's not just blood glucose control. It's those things, yes. Oh, and by the way, I do have clients who lose an incredible amount of weight, whether on the program or off it. Because there are others who, like, at the beginning, I remember this particular client just had a lot of stuff they were dealing with, and I was like, you need to talk to a therapist first. And they were not very happy to hear that. But when they talked to the therapist, they were so glad that they had, and they just sent me a text. They're like, I don't feel like I can call you. They were ashamed of how they'd like sort of gotten upset with me, but they were like, I can't call you. I don't know if I'd be okay if you called me, but I just wanted to let you know that, you were right, that I did need to talk to a therapist and I've been unearthing a lot of stuff and thank you. And I was like, babe, cool. I understand. Like, there are times I can be direct. So maybe it was in my delivery or maybe they were just not to receive it. But you know what? I absolutely love that they got back to me and they said, hey, because it bothers me when my clients don't do well. I take it very personally. And I remember my first therapist, she was a mental health coach. She told me, you really need to let them go. You need to let your patients go. You need to let your clients go. And I remember this one particular one was a diabetic in his 50s. Sound familiar? So I was basically treating my grandpa and I was trying to save him from himself. And and all the people around him who I felt were leeching off of him. And when I described my sessions and like this patient to my therapist at the time, she was just like, you realize what you're doing, right? Like you're smart when we've done these sessions long enough for you to catch the patterns, which is why you're reporting yourself. Because I started reporting myself to her around that time, and I was like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to save my grandpa. I'm replaying my grandpa's life, And then because he didn't have a dope nutritionist like me, I am basically, yeah, I'm trying to save his life. And she was like, if your client is either not making progress or is making progress too slowly, and you have a principle that if your client isn't making progress, you let them go after a certain period of time, and you've exceeded that period, then you're no longer helping them, you're enabling them, even if you're chronically undercharging for your services. And that was hard to hear. My phone is reminding me that it's going off. It's going gray. It's so interesting to see how it goes gray at this time. So I quit supporting that client for a couple of months. I explained to them, you're not making good enough progress for me to want to keep taking money from you to help you make progress, and you're not. Now, granted, his blood was pretty decent, but the weight was not going. And so, the progress it could have been better, and so I let him go, and he did really well. And then he looked for me, and when I saw him the first day, I was like, "Oh my gosh, the tummy is gone!" And he actually tapped it, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's gone!" And he's like, "Yeah, look at me. Why am I even paying you now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I am like your child, and you just like having me around to tell you what you already know, and course correct sometimes." And it's like, what, you're actually right. I just need a little course correction. And we worked together for a couple more months before I left Kenya. I absolutely miss my patients. I miss them so much. Anyway, this was not even supposed to be about them, but it also is. So someone reached out to me on Instagram and asked whether I'm a life coach, because they follow a lot of the stuff I share. And they were like, "Yeah, I wanted to recommend you to someone I know who just is trying to figure out their lives. And a lot of what you're saying sounds like a lot of stuff that they could be dealing with, and that you seem to have figured out or you're working out." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Send them my way." And then, of course, they asked that question like, "Oh, so you're a life coach, right?" I'm like, yes, without that title. Like, I help people navigate life transitions, diet change. And when I say health and wellness goals, that's just including just going after the life that you desire and doing it audaciously. And not to say I'm exactly where I want to be, but I definitely give myself a chance to go after a lot of the things I wanted for a long time that I didn't give myself a chance to go after. And it's been incredible. Has it all worked out exactly the way I wanted? No. And that's why I keep asking, like, how many of these life coaches are actually telling us, like, what's not working out? Because, like, yeah, like, how many of them are actually telling us this? And I don't like sharing stories from the perspective of, oh, it worked. I mean, I do. I'm a human being. I also have ego. But, like, I also really like to share from the perspective of this went south. All of you know, for instance, that I came to Germany because of, I won't say primarily, that would be a lie. Primarily to pursue my education, to further my education, which is a master's program, and then to pursue my relationship. Um, it had been an on 8 year, off 5 year, back on for the better part of like 2.5 years relationship. And so my housemate told me yesterday, "No, that's still 16 years. If you guys remained friends, talking and the whole thing." I was like, whatever. I don't know. I just, yeah, I appreciate truth tellers, but I will give them bombastic side eye. What is on the back of my socks? Are these my socks? Yeah, I think these are, if they're not mine, they're from someone. I'll figure out who. But anyways, yeah, these, oh, I know where these are from. Story for another day. I am just about to put this on the internet. I'm putting my business out there. And I think it's just nice to be, honest. But yeah, I've literally seen the socks and seen the person. Like, I can't believe I just said that. Collect yourself. So, this is me announcing to you after just saying that these are the socks of a former lover of mine, that I am taking on coaching clients because I am helping people resolve their issues. that are not just nutrition, they are health. And health, even according to WHO, I don't remember which year, is not just the absence of disease. It's not just the absence of maladies. It's wellness. It's physical, it's psychological, and especially with the mental health crisis in the world today, with anxiety and depression jumping up 25% plus, since 2022. And that's also according to WHO, that we really need to start looking at health and wellness differently. And it's also not just skinny bodies, because there's skinny fat. There are people who are skinny, but my God, their cholesterol is terrible. Their blood pressure is terrible. And those are the people who wind up in hospital. I don't know why I'm laughing as I say this. I really need to learn to stop laughing when I'm nervous. But these are people who wind up in hospital in a mess. In Swahili, we would say, hound your blood pressure in our angusha. Like that blood pressure knocks you out when you're skinny. And I tell skinny people, develop muscle tone, because that diabetes will still come for you, and muscle tone is protective in many ways. Remember, the heart is a muscle as well. And then just exercise your muscles, build that insulin resistance, take care of that abdominal fat. I'm not asking all of you to have a six-pack just because I have one. And a six-pack is not definitely going to protect you from everything. There are people who've dropped dead in the gym in spite of the six-pack. I mean, granted, some of them had used steroids and not all of them. That's not what I'm saying. Drug use is dangerous, not just for your heart. It's also it's bad for everything. It's bad for everything, including your down south. Like, I don't know, the greatest motivation for men to stop using like steroids or stop using drugs to pump muscle is to tell them, yeah, your stuff will start to shrink. And then, or I remember my college BFF Shiko would remind me that we'd studied the danger of cat. What do you call it? I remember how the matatu drivers in Kenya would chew on this stuff, and the conductors. Cat is also called something in Swahili. Gosh, it's gone. And yeah, it causes spermatorea. I'm guessing overuse. So when people hear spermatorea, they usually go like, huh? And I'm like, think diarrhea, then think sperm or semen. Then have a field trip with that, like just spilling stuff everywhere. I yeah, I realize I do have I was discussing with a friend, a new friend. She's incredible. She's smart. She knows a lot about food stories and nutrition, Wavua. And we met on LinkedIn. And I'm meeting some really incredible people on LinkedIn, like potential clients and people in academia and people one who seemed more interested in getting to meet me for coffee than actually connecting for business. And my brain doesn't work that way because I have ADHD, which sometimes has elements of elements of autism, which is the boxes don't touch. Like, LinkedIn is where I meet professionals. It's not where I meet people that I can just have coffee with. And then if that line is crossed, hard for me to come back. But anyways, so I am taking on coaching clients, and I am looking to work especially with women around setting boundaries. These socks are now just yummier now that I remember where they're from. So many fun experiences, by the way. And another thing I'm teaching women to do, especially in their late 30s, if you know you are a repressed religious person, Christian or Muslim, and you're just coming into yourself, especially after separation, divorce, or discovering that your partner was cheating, please look for me. If you're coming out of a financially or emotionally abusive relationship, long-term relationship, wondering where you're going to start, please look for me. Just get in touch with me. My coaching fees vary because I have a sliding scale of care, which means I charge based off of what you can afford and what I can afford to take you on for a period of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. What does that mean? It means, for starters, my prices are different for people living in Africa as they are for people living in Europe. And then my prices are also different for immigrants, uh, particularly Black, brown people. I charge them less than I do the general population here that is white. And I remember the first time the person who introduced me to that concept was actually a white American woman. And she was like, "So, am I paying white tax? Like, tell me if I need to pay more, because how am I paying the same as the person who referred me and she's Black?" And I was like, "What?" And she was honest and she said, "We may be working at the same place, but I'm paid significantly more because I'm a white person. And so am I paying white tax?" And I told her, "Actually, I'm not charging you white tax, but I'll ask you for a favor somewhere along the line, either for you to refer someone to me or to open up a network for me or something. Like, I want you to feel so indebted to me that you give me something." And she was like, "Yeah, appreciate the honesty." And I remember as a time when I was thinking of going to the US and I reached out to her. In fact, she gave me a testimonial. And then when I wanted to go to the US, she was like, "Yeah, for sure. If you're ever here and you're looking for a place to stay, like, I've already like told my family I have an awesome nutritionist and I know I could never afford you here in the US." Essentially, she was saying, "You're coming to charge a hell a lot more." And I will be charging more in January, because I know my worth. I always have, but then I will adjust for the mess that is the economy in Kenya, although I have very few Kenyan clients left right now. And do I want to keep it that way? No, I actually want to serve more Kenyan clients. I really do. I really do, whether they are in Kenya or in the diaspora. But I'm very interested in getting more Black people. I met a lady from Jamaica at a networking forum in Munich. And then I met a Kenyan who'd been in Netherlands. Well, they two Kenyans who'd been to the Netherlands, and they were, I'm guessing, in their 20s. And it was just interesting to listen to their experiences. Um, Generally, their lived experiences as Black women abroad and in predominantly white countries, and their experiences in school, at the workplace, and in their love lives, like dating, romantic relationships, sexual relationships, etc. It was very eye-opening. And after that, I've been having quite a few conversations with Black and brown women on the same. And a number of them have actually expressed that they would be more than happy to pay me to take them through this. And I'm like, "Wait, what certification do I need for this?" And they're like, "Sis, you just get it. Like, for some reason, when I explain this to you and I tell you that my husband is Muslim, you kind of understand." I'm like, "It's because my sister is Muslim and she's married to a Muslim man. And I have perspective. And when I had relationship trouble, she's the one I would go to and she'd give me perspective. And in fact, she's the one my ex used to talk to. So yeah, I do have a Muslim sister. She's my BFF from our 20s. And I did want to do medicine. She studied medicine. So she's just this brilliant human being. And she speaks to me in med speak. So many people have asked whether I'm her doctor. And I'm like, no, because there are things I know just because Naima makes me brilliant. And yeah, so there's that. And I have other doctor friends around me. Like, it's just, I'm just surrounded by doctor. Oh, and then I picked a master's course that had like a very high percentage of doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, and we just, it was fun. It's fun. And I'm thinking of joining the noble profession of nursing. So, ladies, if you're having issues with setting boundaries, especially with your families, especially around money, especially around your time and caregiving, whether it's paid or unpaid, and very often it is not paid, or it's paid in vibes, inshallah, and visits by the church pastor or elder to say thank you for the good work you're doing. That's not paid labor. Yes. Also, if you're tired of your situationship cycles, get in touch. I am enjoying talking to you ladies, by the way. I am enjoying sharing voice notes with you. I'm enjoying connecting in real life with some of you. I'm enjoying connecting with you online. And I am really looking forward to serving you. It is my great and immense pleasure to sign off tonight saying it's Saturday night. I am very happy to be single in December. No cooking. Hey, no cooking. that I don't feel like doing. Like, I made pancakes on a Saturday night just because I felt like pancakes. Just cause. And then I was to go out dancing, and then I reached out to my girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh, we went last week." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I'd asked you." And now we're meeting next week. Two of my sleepovers fell through, and so I'm feeling this vacuum, this girl hangout sleepover vacuum, this girl-shaped hole in my heart, which could only be filled with pancakes and ice cream that my housemate got me yesterday. I'm so happy to have a really good housemate, by the way. It's such a rare thing to find in Germany. Someone who's clean, kind, and just listens to you talk for endless hours and never knocks on your wall because you're noisy and recording things at 2 a.m. And they're black, so there's no hair in my drain. And the loo is clean. and the, and the sink is clean. Like, I don't have to remind them to remove bits of food from the sink drain thingy. And the trash is taken out because he's a gentleman. Like, I swear, it's so, like, someone was like, "So are you sure you're moving out of Berlin, like, to go stay with your aunt?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." But then if an opportunity presents itself, because people have started calling me back about jobs I applied for because I was offline from October. Just my contract ended, my phone contract ended. And by the time I discovered, like, yeah, my phone had been off for a while. And then at least one company has reached out to me on email going like, "Yo, we were trying to reach you, we couldn't reach you, we're still interested." So fingers crossed for that. I'm also planning on, a drum roll please, getting into the nursing profession. It's sort of like a last resort thing because I really wanted to get into health coaching again. But getting a job in Germany is a nightmare as a foreigner. And by there, I used to think it was just foreigner, like, look at my waist beads. Those ones don't fit anymore. And then the thing comes off. So I probably need to send for them to be fixed. What was I saying? I was saying something important. Um, it's God. It's not waist beads. It's, you know what? It's fine. I'm 36 and a half. I'm allowed to forget things randomly. All right. Yeah, it bothers me that that's just gone that way. It's fine. I'll rewind it and then I'll be kicking myself. No, I will not. Life is too short. So if you're looking for a coach to help you through navigate your relationships, situationships, strangely, even parents are telling me I have some wisdom around parenting. And I guess I'm terrified of being told, but you don't have children, like, for real. Like, you fostered kids who are still being parented by other people. So it's not like a real parenting thing. You've never gotten like a baby. Now you know why I stopped talking to Christians. I actually prefer to work with atheists and agnostics and Muslims. Muslims also pay me on time. Yeah, Christians like to negotiate prices down. I'm just really not. I'm especially not interested in Christians from my church. Pentecostals are welcome. Yeah, Adventists and Baptists, not so much. Anyone who I greet and they tell me, "Oh, the Lord is good," no thanks. But anyways, I'm back on Bumble, and it's very interesting. More on that later. But yeah, if you're trying to put yourself out there, figure out life after 35, including aches, pains, what else happens after 35? Estrogen drops after your period that sometimes result in yeast infections. So annoying. And stuff like that I'm learning from, my second opinion doctor, Dr. Posaswani in the US. She's incredibly brilliant. I'm just so happy that there are women like her in healthcare. And she's a mom. And so yeah. I'll hopefully have her on my website soon. But anyway, we'll see. My website is coming up soon. My prices are going up in January. I have a limited number of clients I'm taking on. Hurry while stocks last, I guess. see you on the other side of this video, because it's going to be a follow-up soon, because I have stories for you girls. I have stories. Happy Saturday.